Welcome back, guys. I just wanted to show you. Now, when you go to sand your floor, you know, the sander, the big sander, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute in another video, but it will not get your edges, so you have to go through and somehow get your edges clean. Well, when you're at the rental store and you rent your equipment, they're going to ask you about an edger. And an edger does exactly that. It gets up to the edge. It spins really, really fast. This is what it looks like. The pad's right there. That's the one I have to change. This here, the most important part is, well, a couple things, but make sure you guys do not get anything less than an 80. If you go lower than that, then that means it's a more coarse cut. So when you go to stain, your stain's going to really shoot in there, and it's going to be darker than the rest of your floor, and all your little scratches will show up that you can't see by the naked eye, but when you stain it, you'll see the sand lines and stuff. So you want to try to avoid that. So it takes a little bit more. I mean, it took me 4 to do this room, and so that's what it looks like. You just go over it real quick. I do two swipes, one to the left and then back to the right. Or whatever, as long as you just do like 2 passes, that's all you want to do, because you just want to get the rough stuff off, because you'll see a line when you're done all along the wall, and it'll be a different shade than the rest of the floor when you go to stain it. And you don't want that. That's how you can always tell when an amateur has refinished or resurfaced a wood floor, is just by that. So I wanted to let you guys know that. Like I said, just use a smaller grip, and since I'm losing track of what I was going to say, you guys have a great day. We'll be back. Hey guys, what's up? I was just going to show you the next step. I showed you the edging, you know, with the disc here, and so I went around all the edges. I think I already showed you that. But next is the drum sander. So it has this here. We moved up pretty easy, you can see. So we moved up to a 36. We did it first with a 24. You can see the floor with a 24. That's the roughest. So you only want to, once it looks like that, I mean, that's all you want to do, because if you go gouging into the floor, you'll never get the sand lines out. And at the same time, Caleb's finishing up the edges by hand. Like I said, you don't want to have the dark line going through there. So this is what you do. This one here has got a lever, so it makes it real nice, because most of them don't. So you have to lift up on it, on how they make them, and then let it down when you start going again, and that's how you get your big ruts. But with this one, I'll just show you right here. Don't go through the window. So then you just keep doing that all the way across, and then you'll move up to a higher grit. You see it's starting to come off. There you go, guys. We'll get back with you. Hey guys, what's up? We're still sitting here with the drum sander. Now in here, you can see how this one pass with a 36 on this hardwood, that's incredible how clean that came. I was just messing around. But in here we went from 24 to 36 to 80, back to 36, back to 80, and I think I just hit it 36 again, but it's starting to come along. When Caleb's catching up our edges, trying to get them to blend. So I'll hit this with an 80 on the drum, and then we'll be done with the drum in here, and then we'll grab the buffer and we'll show you guys how to actually screen sand it to get it looking even better. All right, you guys have a great day. You know we are. Hi. We're high on wood dust. So check out the floor. Man, I used that drum sander and I got really lucky. I started out with a 37 instead of a 24 because I didn't have that many scratches down there. I'm gonna have to go to town on it. And then I jumped up to an 80. So now I'll jump back down to a 34 to get the rest of this, and then back up to an 80 and smooth it out a little bit more, and screen sand it. And at the same time, Caleb's hitting all the edges with a palm sander that I can't get. And you see how this is out in the middle? Like you see these spots here? When you're sanding, don't sit there and try to bear down on it and get those out. Because what's happening is the floor, and you have to let the floor get level. It will catch up and come out. But you gotta let the floor catch up, so if something's not quite, you know what I mean? And then when you're using that, just pick a couple boards at a time, because every pad is different. When you put it on there, sometimes it gets the whole width of it, but most of the time it'll get half, either the right half or the left half. And then, man, that's pretty much it. We're just gonna keep moving along. I'll hit this with a lower grit tomorrow and get it super nice. You guys have a great night, because you know we are. So now we've changed to a higher grit. Need to slow down when we're talking. So now we'll hit this. I might hit it again with a 24, but I can hit it with a 36 next, and then we'll go up to an 80, and then I'll drop back down to a 24. Anytime it quits sanding, that means you got to change grits, like extreme, so it can grab something, you know what I mean? Because once you hit it with an 80 grit, 80's not going to sand it anymore, so you have to either jump to a 24 or to a 150. You know what I mean? To get the most use out of it. Then up to 150, then back down to a 24. So you got to go through that pattern and keep going, you know. See those sand lines? What that is when your floor, so what that is when you have a floor like this and that sander went down and it was spinning, and so what happened is it went into a little dip, so it goes like that, you know what I mean? And so when you go to stain, because like I said earlier, the coarser the cut, the darker the stain. So if you used to go through and stain, those would show up real dark in your floor. If you ever see those real dark in your floor, that's what that's from. So you gotta bring the floor down to catch up to that. Now, if you ever have a spot like this one here, it's slowly catching up. You saw the one disappear. If you ever get to a thing where the whole floor is done and that just will not catch up without doing the whole floor again, then what you do is you can try to sand it out, but you got to make sure that you hit inside that thing, inside the divot, with a real high grit sandpaper, like a 150, you know what I mean, or even a 200, because you have to get that smooth as the rest of the floor, so when you stain it, you won't see it color-wise. You can look down and you can see it, but it won't be super dark color-wise. You know what I mean? Because if you just go through there and try to grind it out with a 50 grit sandpaper, then you just keep sanding over it. Well, it never hits the high grit sandpaper as you're doing your floor. So that's still a very low grit. It's a real coarse cut. When you go to stain, boom, it sucks in all the stain. That's where you get your dark sand lines from. That's where that comes from right there. An old one that somebody did when they did the floor before. Right there. It's the same thing that happened. So you just have to pay attention, and there'll be little scratch marks and stuff that you won't see until you stain. So you have to get down and look at it. But we got quite a ways to go. In here, Caleb went to go get some more equipment, and we'll show you guys how to screen sand this. Because even though we've got it down pretty good, we'll have to hit these light spots, you know what I mean, that just will not catch up. But what we'll do is we'll get a scrubber, like a buffer, slow speed buffer, and we have screens with different grits on it, the same concept. The higher the number, the finer the cut. The lower the number, the coarser the cut. So we'll come in here with a 60 or 80 grit, tear it up real good, and then we'll hit it with a high grit, and it'll smooth this out, and it'll totally, man, it'll look really, really good. And then when you go to stain it and you put your poly on there, your floor will be slick, you know. So, you guys have a great day. You know we are. Hey guys, what's up? So I went through with the drum sander. You guys can see a little bit, but I went through the drum sander on 24, then 36, then 80. And I did that all 2 times, and then I went back through again the whole place with a 24, and I'm getting ready to do another 34 and 80. And then we're still gonna screen, but I was gonna show you here the edges. You see, that's all gone except for the iron mark. Still working on it, but I'm using a dark stain, so it might cover. This here's the hand sanders. Caleb and George is going through sanding it by hand. We'll go back here and look. So I just went, remember I went real light on that edge sander. I just went real fast. There was still some there, and all I had to do is come through and clean it up. And so it's nice and even. Still got some stains here. They're starting to light up. If they don't blend in with the dark stain, which they should, then we'll be putting a rug over it, and bed's gonna be over that too, so. Quite a chore. You can see we still gotta do the closets by hand, places I can't reach. The camera's working on right now. So it's just a process, take your time. It'll look good when you're done. You guys have a great day. You know we are. Hey guys, welcome back. I was just, we went through and sanded. I told you all the stages with the drum sander. I ended up doing an extra all the way through. So we did 3 passes with a drum sander at 24, then 36, and then 80 grit. And so we did that 3 times all the way through the house. We've hit all our edges with the hand sanders and the little DeWalt palm sanders. Now what we're doing is we're coming through and screen sanding. You can see here all the dust. It's brought up off the floor. What this is going to do is get all your little sand lines that were left on the floor from sanding. This gets out all the sand lines, gets your edges good, and gets it all to blend real nice, and it gets it real nice and smooth like a basketball gym floor. And so first, I'm going to use a 60 grit. That'll rough it up real nice, and that'll take it down some more. And man, the better we get, it's just going to look that much better at the end. You know, like it's a pre-finished floor put together when it's not. And so what you do is you take this, and slide it under there. And get that on straight. It'll come off crooked. You'll have to stop and readjust it. This thing here, just hold on and try to keep the balance in the middle. So when you push down on it, it's going to go to your left. When you lift up on it, it's going to go to your right. So you want that balance, and then you'll learn how to go back and forth. But just hold on to it, and it just takes a little bit of practice, you know. You look at it, over the dust. Bring down my edges first. That's the most important. Take out them sand lines and all that stuff on the edge. Just kind of work it. That's where you see the sand lines and you're trying to get it clean and it's 2 different shades. So if your edge is darker than the rest of the floor as far as the shade of it, then when you stain, then you'll see it. If your edges are lighter, because you sanded down too far than the rest of the floor, then you're going to see that too. You'll see it all through there. So what you want to do is get it all to blend. So now after I get done with this, we're going to suck it up with a vacuum. You have someone following you. Wear a dust mask because it gets dusty. And then what we'll do is we'll come back through with the 150. And once we do the 150, then you got to super clean everything. And but your floor is then ready to take the stain, and it'll be nice and slick. I want you guys to see this dark mark here. See this? That's from the floor right there. We've taken a lot off this floor and it still hasn't touched that. What that means is, we don't want to dig into it because it's going to make your floor unlevel. So that'll blend right in. That's the only bad spot far as unlevelness. But we want to leave that alone because it's just barely hitting it because we want the floor to be as level as we can. If you go digging into that, trying to get it out with a sander, it's going to leave sand lines. Then you're going to see a dip in your floor, and it's best just to leave it. No one will ever be the wiser. So, all right, guys, we're having fun over here. We're getting closer to stain day. You have a great day. You know we are. Hey guys, what's up? We got done sanding, and so then we cleaned everything up, and I did the edges. That was the last time I think I talked to you. So since we got the edges done and everything screened, and we went through, cleaned it, tack ragged it. I even mopped it with just plain water to get most of the dust. And what that does is called a water pop, and so it opens up the pores good for the wood, so it'll accept the stain real nice. Otherwise, a lot of times when you pick your stain, and you have your wood sanded down too much, the stain, the color that it says on the can isn't what happens on the floor. You know what I mean? So the water popping it's kind of just like a treatment for it to get it all to accept the stain at the same rate. You know what I mean? So it all blends in good and stuff like that. So I'm gonna show you how, I forgot to show you guys how we put it on here, but we'll do the rest of the floor. But remember the stains that were here? So this kind of blended it in. And so what happens, so if you use, like right there, you can see it. But when we put the poly on there, it'll blend in and no one else will really see it. See right there? So if I was to go with a real light stain, this would have, like in the pictures and the videos from before, these boards would have been black, right? And because the owner didn't want to change them out. So what we did is we blended it in, and no one will be the wiser. But look at that. It's really popping, the colors, all the veins. Man, it's pretty nice. It's gonna be, and when you put the polyurethane on it, it'll bring those colors out and just be a lot sharper, and everything else, it'll blend across the whole floor. You know what I mean? So you won't see light, dark, and all that stuff. So now we'll come in here. Kaylee's gonna hand me the phone. The camera. We're professionals.
Hey, it is a camera, actually.
Hey, start on that side over there.
I'm gonna give you a couple of paper towels ready here.
So what we usually do, we have one person putting it on and the other person wiping it off. But since we're recording right now, he's gonna play both roles. You always want to make sure your stain is everything all mixed up too. Just keep stirring it as you go. Now this is a pine floor in here, so it's going to have a total different look. Because the grain's different, the wood's different, the wood is softer than oak.
Yeah, I think it's going to go on pretty easy.
Notice how he didn't touch the walls, because what you do when you go to wipe it up, then you can pull that right. You can push the stain to the edge so you don't get it everywhere.
Yep, and that way it's not too much right on the edge because it'll be really dark.
Wow, it's already looking good and you haven't even wiped it up yet. So the longer you let it sit, of course, yeah, he's gonna do his edges first. The longer you let stain sit on there, the darker it's supposed to get. But we found it doesn't necessarily always do that. Now if you left it on there till it almost dried,
boom. Yeah, and then I normally put all my rags on one rag, that way you don't make a bunch of little spots, then it'll show up in the stain.
and you want to take the rags, don't put them just in your trash, they got to be immersed in water, otherwise they will spontaneously combust and light on fire all by themselves. Wow, that's really pretty, isn't it? Wow.
Yep. There you go.
Beautiful. Look at that.
You wipe everything all evenly, no spots.
Wow, I can't wait to come back and show you guys what that looks like. Until then, you guys have a great day. You know we are. Hey guys, I'm glad you're back. I was waiting to check out the floor after we got done staining. Remember we started way up here and we kind of worked it all the way through. Man, it turned out pretty nice. Pretty nice. So now what we want to do is clean it really, really well before we lay the polyurethane. So I'll show you how to do that. And you notice how I use the dark stain, you know, to cover up the stain here. And so if you didn't know that was there, you wouldn't even realize that. Especially once I put the poly on it, it'll blend all in together. And I'm using a satin. But I want to show you guys. You want to make sure to get all the lint, everything off the floor. Even though we just did it, we're going to have to do it again. Because if you have a speck that's little bitty, man, it shows up looking pretty huge. And it'll cause bubbles and all that good stuff. So what I do is just get a bucket of water. You can use tack rags that you can buy at the lumber yard, but they're sticky and they work good, but man, you've got to buy a lot of them, and this works just as good. So I got a wet rag. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to push everything out. Hit my edge, and just push everything. Remember where I stopped at there. Somebody wants the knee pads. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see, and just pick that up though. Just pull this over. See, it's picking up stuff. Stuff that you didn't see. So now I'll just turn my rag over. As a matter of fact, I don't want to lose that stuff, so what I'm going to do is fold this over once, keep it trapped inside. All right, guys, I'm going to get done tacking this, and then we'll be back. And I'll show you how to use a T-bar applying the polyurethane. It's a lot better than the wool because it's thin or not very wide. And you got to keep dipping it. That T-bar, you just pour. I'll show you. See you guys in a little bit. Have a great day. You know we are. Hey guys, what's up? Now that I got it cleaned, I got the floor cleaned, I'm going to show you how to polyurethane with a T-bar and how fast it could go. Hopefully it works out for me. You just start a little bit like a bigger puddle at the beginning. My makeshift handle here is loose. Getting the first one started this. Here we go. Yeah, I forgot to put on my mask. Yes, so you just saw me step in it.
Step on this? You want to step on this?
Doesn't matter, I can for a second. I'm going so fast it doesn't matter. If you see any big runners, let me know. That's another reason to kind of have a spotter, because they can help you keep an eye out. You move that stuff out of the way. I can do it while you're.
Look at that grain pop.
So I'm gonna pour me another bead to kind of get me through the rest of the room. That way I can go set this into the next room I'm going to so it doesn't sit on the floor. Hey guys, hey, I'm just working this by myself today, so I just wanted to show you what it looks like after we've got the first coat of polyurethane on, using the T-bar that you saw me doing last night. And so this is the result as far as the first coat. You can see a little bit of blemishes, and there's some imperfections. Like you might be able to see a few bubbles. But it really looks pretty good. All in all. And that's with the satin finish. Big difference. It's turned out pretty nice. See, you can see some spots there. This is a different floor. This is the pine floor, this for an office. But I wanted to show you. So when we screen sanded before to get the floor ready, you use the same screens. I'm just using 150 grit, and what that does is it roughs up the polyurethane so it'll accept the next coat, and plus it pops out any bubbles or lint or anything that got into the floor. But you have to screen sand in between coats, otherwise the polyurethane will just peel back off of itself. It won't sit good, and so this is just another step. You'll come back through, suck up what you can with the vacuum, and then you'll do this room, and then you'll tack rag it again and wipe it all down and get all the dust and stuff out. Then put on another coat of poly, and then we'll put some new quarter round on, because anytime you use old quarter round, it just doesn't look that good. So we'll put our new quarter round down here on the bottom, and this job will be complete. You guys have a great day. You know we are. What's happening, guys? Hey, we finally got all the polyurethane laid. You can look at this floor, it looks pretty good. So now, what we're gonna do, look how this pine floor turned out. So that's oak in there, the rest of the place, but this is pine. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Beautiful with a satin finish. So now, all we have to do is, we picked up some quarter round, and at Home Depot, it was 78 cents a linear foot, and it's a waterproof composite, already painted white. We'll just have to go through and touch up, but that saves a lot of time, and it's waterproof. Plus I used my app, and got 10 bucks back, cash back, real quick. It was cool. So when we get done with that, we'll do our last video showing our final results. It's been fun doing this series, guys. You have a great day. You know we are.